You're listening to the smartest guys in marketing, the best show on the planet for client businesses to learn about traffic, funnels, sales, conversions, and marketing coolness. Chris and Taylor are the founders of Traffic and Funnels, a digital marketing consultancy helping you get paid clients from cold traffic daily. Now, here are your hosts, Chris and Taylor.
This lesson that I'm going to share with you today took me a long time to learn, a really long time to learn. In fact, it's perhaps the longest that I've ever taken to learn anything in my career. And it has to do with letting people down. Letting people down. I felt so bad for so long for letting people down. And don't worry, I'm not going to tell you that you should just, turn into a horrible person and let everyone down. That's not the solution. But there was this, I don't know if you deal with the same thing, but for me, there was this undealt with belief that, to be successful, I had to come through for everybody all the time. And this was not just in business, but this was in my personal life. This was with me at, serving at my church. This was me in every facet of life. I didn't understand that you could be a good person and say no. It took me a long time to learn. And maybe you guys are just kind of like, oh, Taylor, you're a loser. You're an idiot. But I would actually venture to guess that a lot of people have struggled with the same thing. I remember specifically one time somebody asking me to help them move. And it was a friend that I had in Memphis. And they had asked me to move. And I said no. And they actually talked to me and had an intervention with me later on because they were like, there's some people are talking about you that the only way you'll do something for people is if there's something in it for you. Ouch, 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 ouch. So I'm going to kind of talk about my journey in this and how I really see you in your business, because the more successful you get, the more people are going to ask you for stuff and ask you to do stuff. They're going to want to take you to lunch and pick your brain. They're going to want to, leech on your time, from time to time. This applies even if you have employees. And we've got a phenomenal client right now who's just having a difficult time really rearranging the priorities, and he's serving his employees to the point where he's not serving his clients. And it comes from a root of not wanting to let people down and really craving the approval of other people. And this comes from a lot of different things. There's books you can study on this, and we don't have time to get into it, but we're so environmental. Humans are tribal creatures. If you study it, tribes actually kept humans alive. Being a part of a tribe drastically improves your odds of survival. If you were part of a tribe, then you took care of the needs of other people and they took care of your needs. And together you became a formidable defense against all of the things that killed people: winters, predators, starvation, right? So we're actually ingrained with this. We grew up with it. And I don't know about you, but I was never taught that you could qualify the requests that people make of you. And I was just kind of taught that, to be a good person, you did what you came through for people. And so lo and behold, I started getting successful. I started posting about it. I started meeting people and talking about money, and people started asking me for money. I remember another time I worked at a real estate company when I was getting my first couple clients, and it got so bad that my best friend, this was my best friend, we worked together. We grew up together. We met each other when we were 9 years old. Grew up together. This is my best friend ever. We got asked to work. I would get asked to work on a Saturday, and I would pay him to go work for me on my shifts. He's already getting paid hourly, and I would pay him $50 so I could take care of clients. And man, it got so bad. People were making fun of me, and people would be like, you're too good to work Saturdays. And I tried to explain to people that, no, it's not that I'm too good. It's that I make more money doing this, but people never get it. They never understand. It's actually one of my points that I'm going to talk about here in just a second. But at some point, you have to realize that you do not owe anybody anything. That's actually the title of what we're going to talk about today. You don't owe anybody anything. Anything. And here's a secondary lesson. This is part of the environment stuff that we teach about. When you start hitting your full potential, you will offend most of the people around you who are not striving for theirs. When you start hitting your full potential, you're going to offend most of the people around you who are not striving for theirs. It's offensive to be successful to a lazy, unsuccessful person. It's offensive being successful to a lazy, unsuccessful person. And here's why sometimes you got to clean out your environment. Clean out your environment. Clean out your environment. When you start making momentum and making strides in your life, you take away the excuses for all of the people around you. And it's easier, y'all, for someone to blame you and say that you're selfish and you only care about yourself. It's easier for them to say that than it is for them to deal with their own junk, right? It's easier for them to say, well, of course she's successful. Like, she only does things that benefit her. It's easier for them to say that and to throw stones at you, because that's a lot easier than doing the dirty work of figuring out, why am I not successful? Why are things not going my way? Why am I stuck at a dead-end job? Why am I not happy? Not preaching, just trying to help somebody. Just trying to help somebody. People would rather hate on other winners than deal with their own incompetence. It's part of the game. So anyways, you don't know anybody, anything. Let's talk about it. So this took me a long time to learn, like I said. Well, it took me a long time for me. Chris and I, we try to learn things really quickly, and we try to make as few mistakes as possible in the process. So most of the world is a 100 mistake, 10-year learner. And they'll make 100 of the same mistakes before they learn the lesson. And it'll take 10 years to do it, to boot. I want to be, I don't know about you, but I want to be the one mistake learner, the one mistake, 1 month kind of learner. In fact, looking back on probably the last 5 years of my career, I can think of a few lessons that took me maybe 2 mistakes to learn. All right. Maybe 3 if I was just really stuck in the head about something. And learning this lesson took me dozens and dozens and dozens of mistakes. By far, this has just been the hardest thing for me to get, because it's easy to sit down and learn how to write copy. It's hard to learn that for you to reach your full potential, you're going to have to leave some friends behind. That's a more difficult lesson. And so, part of the reason that we've been able to learn so quickly is we invest in mentors and we practice accurate thinking, which is a whole nother lesson. But here's the question I want to ask you today. I'm going to give you 2 options, and I want to know which option you're going to choose. Okay? Option A is you can affect change for millions of people. So if you served, dads who get in control of their family life, you can help dads get their families back. You can help moms get their confidence back. You can help mass amounts of people lose weight or get healthy or get pregnant or make money or achieve the dreams that have always been in their heart to achieve. That's option A. We're talking millions of people, families put back together, all of the things that you guys do that's so massive. That's the first one. Or option B, you can take a friend to the airport and not let them down. Or you can help someone move to a new house. Option A is you hit your full potential, and the world remembers you for someone who completely eradicated a problem. Or option B, you cannot work, or you cannot do that, and you can work on a Saturday for somebody. So here's the thing, and here's where I want to hit home, and this is where it gets deep, and this is where it gets uncomfortable, is if your 2 choices are option A and option B, and you choose option B, you are incredibly, incredibly selfish. It's being selfish. Option A, option B. And people don't realize how close to home this gets, because we are always, always, always being pulled on from the people around us. And this doesn't just include, family or friends, but sometimes it includes employees. How many clients are missing out on complete and total life transformation because you are letting a friend do sales for you, that their numbers suck and they can't do the job, but they're a friend. They're a friend, and so you won't fire them. How many people come into your programs and they don't get results because you want your family member to work for you, but they're not doing a good job? You see how deep this gets into like everyday life, day to day. And this is what I had to realize is I would rather my, quote friends, I would rather my quote friends distance themselves from me and be like, oh, Taylor's all about himself, and reach the masses. Because at the end of the day, like if we're just friends because I could take you to the airport, then you're not really a friend anyways. So screw you. We're done. And this is something that Chris and I both had to learn, and we talk about it sometimes in the memos. But our main mission is to the people who are drowning and will die if it's not for us. And you got to understand this. Between option A and option B, option A is your true mission, your impact, your potential. Option B is, pleasing the people immediately around you. If you choose option B, you're literally taking the life rope away from the drowning person because you are too selfish to say no to the person who asks you to do something. You can't say no. Just punching you in the gut right now. Not because I'm angry, but because this is necessary to really get to the top of the mountain. And it all comes down to do with impact. Now, before we move on, let me just quick say this. I took a friend to the airport a couple weeks ago, and one of my good buddies moved on a Saturday, and I helped him move. I'm not saying you can never help someone move. I'm not saying you can't ever take someone to the airport. What I'm saying is that more businesses fail because they're addicted to the approval of their friends, and they're addicted to, quote, coming through for people, the businesses who fail because of Facebook. More businesses fail because of the approval syndrome that people get caught up in than because they can't sell. We can teach you how to sell. We can teach you how to use Facebook. We can teach you how to have a better offer. We can teach you everything you need to know about businesses and growth and all of these things, advertising, but we can't hack into your central nervous system and turn off the disease that makes you prioritize what people think about you more than you prioritize impact. So serving people is your highest calling. You've got to prioritize that. And what that means is oftentimes prioritizing that will come at the expense of being, quote, helpful from the day to day. Again, this isn't a rule. I'm not saying you can't ever take someone to the airport. I'm teaching you a philosophy that cost me a lot to learn. And at the end of the day, it comes back to you and energies. You're going to serve consistently, day in and day out. You got to be filled up. You can't serve others without serving yourself first. And this flies really kind of in the face of everything that we're taught and how we're raised in the culture. But I'm going to prove it to you, and then I'm going to give you 3 important steps to getting past this.